What's up, guys? Welcome to it. We are back. The major
Finally,
are back on Pro Wrestling Central. Of course, I am your host, Nash, the CEO of PWC. And of course, as always, I'm joined here by the legal bald eagle himself, Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy? Say hi to the fans.
what up, guys? Sorry, we in South Africa, you know all the challenges that you have to deal with on a day to day. And we find ourselves today on the Saturday with the lots of electricity. There's like so much of it.
I'm shocked.
I even have so much internet as well. It's ridiculous.
It's incredible. This is new territory for us in South Africa. We're not used to this kind of thing. Like someone says internet and electricity, we're like, oh, take
At
me
the
with
same
you.
time,
We're not used to this. And even now in Durban, some people are like, oh, you have water? Take me with you, please.
wait, yeah, it's literally, I feel like royalty today because I've got like electricity, water, and the internet.
You
I'm
hit the
falling
jackpot.
out here.
We hit the jackpot. That's why we're so happy. But guys, in all honesty, we know we have been gone for a very long time. We haven't
Man,
done one since July of last year. So a solid 8 months, probably. Yeah, if my calculations are right. 8 months. We haven't done a
was
sit
July the
down.
last time?
Yes. And funny enough, the last time I was also wearing the same shirt because it was SummerSlam. We were doing the SummerSlam predictions.
Damn
And
it.
now we're sitting here about 2 weeks out from WrestleMania.
No, but
And we're
that's good.
doing
That's good because we can actually talk about how things have literally the entire, especially, well, we're going to start off with WWE, obviously, but literally everything has changed. We went from July, and I haven't watched that video recently, but I'm sure we were like just going through the motions of everything. And it's literally a full 180. I mean, I'm like excited to watch wrestling. Well, let me rephrase that because we've had this chat in the week. I'm excited to watch WWE wrestling.
Mhm.
AEW has unfortunately lost me a little bit. I am trying to watch, but man, okay.
Literally, for me, AEW is the only thing I watch like properly for 2 solid hours. I don't know about anybody else, but AEW and New Japan are something that I can watch without
SmackDown,
skipping.
SmackDown.
SmackDown,
I
NXT,
will
and Raw.
never miss
I just
SmackDown.
watch. I just watched the YouTube highlights. I still get.
I haven't watched SmackDown as yet, but I know every Saturday, the moment like Saturday afternoon, evening, time to make supper, I queue it up on my laptop.
Then
SmackDown
I'm
time.
not going to spoil it for you, but
Nah, go ahead. I don't mind. I don't mind.
there was a lot of development, put it that way, towards WrestleMania in terms of the Intercontinental title. Rey Mysterio, I don't know if you saw the announcement
The Hall of
on,
Fame, the
yeah,
Hall of Fame
Hall
announcement.
of
Yeah,
Fame. Yeah, he's headlining the Hall of Fame. There was a lot about that and his, well, upcoming match with Dom at WrestleMania.
on down.
There was a lot of build. Well, I'd say there was, as opposed to Raw, there was much milder build when it comes to the Bloodline feud. So I was kind of disappointed, but I mean, Cody Rhodes was there, so it was I. It was
I'll
I.
be honest. I'll take anything that out of Hunter's brain at this point in time. Papa H is doing a great job. He's doing a great job.
I agree.
Literally you need it's you watch from one week to the next and you have to watch it. It's not like previously where you'd watch Raw, and I mean I like goofy wrestling, but there wasn't anything really happening in terms of storyline. And then if there was, at the next major pay-per-view, um Brock and
Yeah,
Roman would be going at it again.
you mean the next premium live event?
Premium live event. Sorry, I'm not used to that yet.
We had a former member of our group who always corrected us between PLE and PPV, and I didn't give a damn.
It's still I'm still not plussed by it. It's still It's not.
But yeah, like coming back to what you said, a total 180. Like the last time we spoke, Vince McMahon had just left WWE because of the suspension. And since then, so much has happened. I'll just run through real quick. The whole wrestling platform has changed. New Japan Pro Wrestling, the founder Antonio Inoki, sorry, Inoki. Yeah, I'm thinking of Wrestling Revolution over there, Chinoki. But Antonio Inoki, he passed away. There was a memorial in his favor. A lot of the legends, Muta, I think, had a last match. His last bye-bye match. Shinsuke was over there. Then we come over to AEW. I think, as KFF News would call it, American Extreme Wrestling. And there was a media scrum. We're not going to go into the details of that because that's going to just piss you off. But you know what happened.
Not really.
And stuff
Not
like
really.
that. And then Vince came back and sold WWE to the Saudi Sports Board.
Oh, no.
Nothing has changed since.
Allegedly. So.
Yeah, allegedly, and nothing has changed at all in WWE. So I don't know what effect that has. Speaking of Saudi, by the way, for the viewers who are watching, we've got I think 3 watch-alongs coming this year. We had 3 last year, 3 this year. But 2 Saudi shows. The first one being in May 27th. The King and Queen of the Ring, which I'm excited for.
Extremely excited. It's a one-night tournament.
I'm going to come back to that. Then, for the first time ever, we got Money in the Bank live from London. Now, for those of you who don't know, we in South Africa are I think 1 or 2 hours behind London, so which makes it awesome that we can actually watch it live here and do a watch-along for you guys. And I'm thinking this year we might actually do the watch-alongs live on Instagram or Facebook. That will be awesome. That's going to be the next step for us to do it live instead of pre-recorded. And then, of course, there's another Saudi show happening in October, November. They usually have 2 a year. That's awesome. But coming back to the King of the Ring, I really want to talk about this. And I know this is something that you all also love. I grew up watching King of the Ring when it was a one-night tournament. All the matches of the tournament, aside from maybe the qualifiers or the first round, happened on pay-per-view. You had the knockout rounds, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and final happened on PPV. So I am super excited. I hope that's the route they're going to go with. And they're going to have Queen of the Ring as well, which is awesome for the ladies to see that they're also getting recognized in a place called Saudi Arabia. I mean, Kingdom of Redacted. They don't love the ladies over there for some reason. But they're having it. A King and Queen of the Ring to be crowned in Saudi Arabia. Before we get into WrestleMania and our thoughts on the other stuff, Jeremy, I know you're a huge fan. You grew up and you loved it when there was a one-night tournament. What are your thoughts on this thing?
Man, there's nothing more for me to say. I mean, one of my earliest wrestling memories, and this is gonna date me quite badly actually. Savio Vega qualified on the night and then went through to the finals, and I was marking out. And this was before I knew that it was predetermined. But I lost my mind. He made it all the way to the finals, and I was like, yeah, Savio Vega, that's my dude. And then I was like, oh no, lost. And every single time there was a King of the Ring, I used to lose my mind. I think it's the whole tournament thing for me. I love a good wrestling tournament. And I know that was one of the reasons why when AEW came along and they would do tournaments just at the drop of a hat. I mean, for any reason, they would have a bracket up. And I think it's just the fact that, ooh, we could have some possible good matches in here. I mean, look at this. Look at that. If that guy beats that guy, ooh, and then we could have a tag team facing off each other and in the final. I mean, it's amazing. And then I know we've had a few King of the Rings along the way, but it wasn't really a King of the Ring. And I know I wanted Woods to win it, and he did, and it sort of felt okay. But I mean, guys, when you see that as a one-night tournament, and when that bracket flashes up, and if they go with the original color scheme, with that purple and gold color scheme, Okay, the only thing that I might have a slight issue with, the only thing I might have a slight tiny issue. Look, if you go back and look at it, it was always a guy from like Europe or the UK or somewhere like that that was winning the King of the Ring. And they would try and push it towards those. I mean, in recent history, I mean, Barrett, I think Sheamus has won it. But there's been a few. Regal has won it.
Wait, Owen Hart wasn't. Bret Hart was.
No.
They were Canadians.
Bret Hart was.
What was Harley Race? Was he?
Austin won it. No, he was just the king. I don't think he won the actual King of the Ring. I don't think him and, you know what, guys, I might be speaking out from complete ignorance, but I'm going to go and hit the Google machine. King of, it'll help if I can spell.
Your favorite King of the Ring was not even outside of the US. He was from Houston, Texas. King Booker.
I don't even have to say it. You know that. The best King of the Ring. You need to be one of his loyal subjects. Man, I can't even do that voice. He was the best King of the Ring.
My loyal subjects.
And I think Macho Man was the King of the Ring as well. Yeah. Macho Man was the king. Okay, look, I've got a list. Here we go. Don Morocco was the first one. Harley Race did win it. Savage, another favorite of mine, won it in 1988. Ted DiBiase, Tito Santana. The only guy I think that's won it twice, Bret Hart. Owen won it after that. And then the year that broke my little boy feelings, 1995, Mabel beat Savio Vega. And then 1996, the year that I think as a wrestling fan in 1996, if you remember this promo like I did, and I watched it live when it happened.
316 says I just whipped you.
Wait, so I'm gonna give you guys some context, right? When Austin came out, my entire family, dude, we would all get together, and I'm talking about this used to be. Sometimes we'd catch it as a recap or I'd record it and we'd all watch it the next night. So this was what happened. So I didn't watch it live. Watched it on the Monday, recorded it, stayed off the internet, watched nothing. Right? Got home that night, had supper. We're all sitting together about 7 o'clock, put it on. Man, the amount of rage that was in that house. My family is Christian, like Christian. And Jake Roberts was the man because he was OG wrestling. He was a Christian. He would come down talking about the Bible and everything else. And Austin gets in there after that and he cuts that promo. Do you know the number of my family members that checked out at that point? They were like, no, this is not for me anymore. I, on the other hand, was like, did you hear what he just said?
You sit there and you thump your Bible and you
Man, I was losing my mind. Okay, let's run through the rest of these really quickly. So then we got 97, we had Triple H. 98, Ken Shamrock. 99, we had Mr. S, Billy Gunn. 2000 was Kurt Angle. 2001 was Edge. 2002 was Brock Lesnar. Then there was a 4-year break. And then Booker T won it. The best King of the Ring of all time. I will take you on if you would like to argue this. And then 2 years later, William Regal. 2 years later, Sheamus. 5 years later, okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, the English guys winning the King of the Ring tournament. Because we had Regal, we had Sheamus, and then we had Barrett. And then we had bum-ass Corbin in 2019. And then 2021, Xavier Woods.
I think they should really consider having it more consistently. You know what would have been
Yes.
really awesome? And I know there's no
That's
salvaging.
weird. That's weird. Us saying consistency, considering our last video was in July.
Putting that aside, you know what would have been really, really awesome? And I know there's no salvaging it now. It's way too soon, but you never know. If they did not stick this weird freaking maximum male models thing on Mansoor.
No.
And had
I will not stand for that. You will not speak ill of the maximum male models while I'm here. And I'm going to say something. And some of you are going to want to come over here and check if I'm okay. But I cannot wait for the plus size male model, Otis, to show up. Yes.
Wait. Who are you, Jeremy?
The maximum male models, I promise you, it's some of the weirdest crap ever, but it is so good. It is so good. It's like, it's not as bad. Okay, we remember what the 24/7 title eventually became, right? It was really, really bad. As good as it was at the beginning when they would actually scramble for that belt. We had some real gems in there with R-Truth, with the wedding shenanigans and everything else. But towards the end, that got really bad. Yeah. I am glad that we have some little piece of goofy wrestling on TV, and it's these guys. That pose, that challenge that they had, where they were trying to hold that pose for like 30 seconds, and Owens came in there and ruined it. It's genius. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Okay. And the natural progression for models to have a plus size model, and then it's like, hello, am I liking this too? I think I am. I'm not sure what's going on. Ask me sick.
As much as I like the goofy stuff that's going on, what happened to you? Because you were the one.
Sure. I'm not sure. As annoying as Otis was in his original character, the whole Tucky thing, and I might actually be a piece of heavy machinery, I guess, and that was their tag team name. I couldn't take it. I really couldn't take it. Every time he said his tag team partner's name, I would lose my shit and I would like have to pause it, walk away, and come back. And the same dude, I think it's the fact that he was there with Gable. That's the only thing I can think of. Because I mean, Gable, as far as I'm concerned, Gable is probably, I think, I'm normally that guy. I like tag team wrestling. I'm not Vass. I do like tag team wrestling. And the whole thing, I think with him specifically, I think we're going to see Gable moving over to like a more, like a wrestling machine, because he is. The guy is a wrestling machine. And I think if they start doing that with him, and then they move Otis over or Otis over, and there's something else I've noticed. Have you noticed the three-man teams that are starting to re-solidify again?
Yeah.
You noticed that?
I noticed. And are they trying to copy what AEW has done with the trios titles and create a six-man title over in WWE? Because there was one resurgence once before, if you remember, when we had the Shield, there was the Wyatt family, there was a whole lot of these three-man teams, but nothing ever came of it.
Yes.
But now you're seeing more of these three-man teams, and there was rumors of a third belt, a trios belt coming up. Do you see that happening in WWE? And booking wise, like how because I can't see it. I just don't envision this.
Look, I think maybe it's maybe one of those things that I'd like to see the way WWE riffs on it, to see their version of doing that trios title. I do like that the trios titles, I must be honest, for a while, I think after the whole Elite and CM Punk thing happening, I was worried about what was going to happen with those belts. I mean, because they were won and then like the next night they were stripped off them. And now they're back. They've defended them. They've lost them. And the House of Black, I think this could actually be the way they actually solidify themselves and move forward, because they need to feud with some. They need to like mix it up in there. And as much as that was starting to get old as well, and this past week, what happened with the titles, and now it's the Jericho Appreciation Society thrown in there, and it's the Elite thrown in there, and it's the House of Black thrown in there, and we've got an AEW have gotten. Sorry guys, we're going to be going all over the place. Just hang on, just wait, hang on to. We've got a lot to get through, and I mean it's good. I could see myself watching one of these matches, and in fact, I'm probably going to go and watch Revolution later, if I'm completely honest. I haven't watched it as yet. I haven't had a second to watch it, but yeah, I'm probably going to go and check it out later. Mainly for the MJF Daniel Bryan match.
Oh, man, you are in for a treat when you watch that. There's a reason I rated it 5 stars. Like, I'm not going to spoil it.
Was it 5 stars because it was in the Tokyo Dome?
Just hold on, let me check if he's here. No, I can't see anything else.
I saw those ratings that they posted up earlier on the group, man. I was like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Wrestling is wrestling. I love watching wrestling. I love watching. I don't care what banner it's under. And I know I've moved away from Impact for a while. But if they start doing like the stuff that they were doing with like Matt Hardy and everything else again, and they start having that competitive matches all the time, I'd probably start watching them as well. It's gonna sound weird, but I'm there for 2 guys in tights.
I watched Impact Wrestling religiously every week for about a year in 2019. It was good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. There were a lot of throwaway matches, but the talent, like you have Sami Callihan, you had the Lucha Bros on there, LAX, freaking what's his name, Brian Cage. All these names were there, and they were putting on stellar matches. And now a lot of them, bar Sami Callihan, have moved over to AEW, and they're putting on great matches there as well. And
because I think that whole AEW thing where they had that working relationship, I think that actually hurt TNA more than it did. AEW definitely came out better in that whole thing.
Definitely. And I think there was a missed opportunity there to have a pay-per-view Impact Wrestling versus All Elite Wrestling. That would have been a breakthrough, but they didn't capitalize on it. They did capitalize about a year later with the Forbidden Door thing. I hope they have that again this year. New Japan versus AEW. And this year, the only change I want from previous year is all the matches must be New Japan versus AEW. I don't want to see AEW title matches on the show. This show is strictly about NJPW versus AEW. And my God, that is a humongous can of water.
It's a 2 liter. It's a 2 liter water bottle. There you go. Yeah, I'm not compensating for anything.
That's a good one to cover up. But I was watching AEW this past week. I gotta say, I know you haven't watched the show yet, but if you do, 2 things you have to watch is the House of Black Elite and Jericho Appreciation Society segment.
Promo.
Very good promo. Yep. And the opening before the match, that sound flub with Tony Schiavone and Taz handled it so hilariously.
Okay, I do like Taz on I do like Taz on commentary. I do like Taz on commentary, but then again, I've always been a bit of a Taz mark. Ever since he came to my first experience with Taz was in WWF at the time, and when he came out and he confronted Angle that night, the only thing I remember thinking was, who the hell is that? Why is he so short? Does this mean short guys can wrestle as well?
Were you not shocked that if you had put glasses on, you would look exactly like him at that point in time. Because you had the beard, you had the look, you
Probably.
had in a Taz,
I could have been. I could have been a
doppelganger.
contender.
Yeah, so we've talked about New Japan, we've talked about AEW. The one thing we haven't touched on, and I think the fans want to know what our opinion is, because if we skim over this, the fans are gonna feel like, oh, they were avoiding the subject. We talked about, the Vince stuff, and you shut me up very well last time, had your say. So I'm gonna let
Okay.
you take this on because I know it's a huge thing for
Okay.
you.
This
I
is
know
good.
how
This is a
you
setup.
feel about Cash Money Phil, and you've seen the media scrum. We all heard about the backstage fight. This is your chance to say your piece, whatever you want to say. Let it rip about that whole situation.
Okay. So I'm going to be completely objective with this one. All right. So I'm going to take a page out of Lance Storm's book and I'm going to try and be serious for a second. Just hold. So anyway, look, the one thing about AEW that does get on my, or that rubs me up the really wrong way, is the fact that there's always this conflict with guys in the back, and there's always like fights in the back and everything else. I know WWE, WRF, WCW, they've all had their share of backstage fights. But there was, and as much as I know it's called like a bullying mentality. There's something to be said for the wrestlers' court. There's something to be said for the leaders, the locker room leaders that hold that position, where they are able to say, okay, you guys need to come in line for us to make this work. And that's the thing. It needs to work. It's not just me as CM Punk or you guys as the EVPs. That everybody needs to work together. Even though we don't like each other, even though Sean and Brett don't like each other, they still went out, they still worked. Even though there was the whole screw job, The Undertaker made sure that he confronted the owner of the company and told him, you need to make this right. Tony Khan doesn't have that. Tony Khan doesn't have that way. He's got the wrestlers in and Vince McMahon is a douchebag. We know this. We know this. But at the same time, when it came to holding his locker room in the palm of his hand and telling them you need to work, they did it. They went out, they made the company work on the sweat of their backs. I used to be a CM Punk fan. Believe it or not, I used to be a CM Punk fan. But I realized that what the man said and what he did was two different things. That being said, no, I'll come back to that. So I do understand where he came from to go out and vent. Do I think it could have been done better? Hell yes, 100%. You don't throw your employer under the bus right next to you. Tony Khan should have done something. Tony Khan sat there and took the whole thing. You don't let somebody, if I owned a company and my employee was next to me, man, I'm going to stop that. I will stop it. It's done. I think it's done more harm than good to the brand that they were building. And they had to take off the really hot talent off the TV, and it damaged them because Punk wasn't on TV. The Elite weren't on TV, and I think they've come back, but it's taken them a while to get going again. Yes, they had a best of 7 series, very good best of 7 series. But the fact of the matter is they needed to go through that and reignite the work that they've done already. And I think they, as EVPs, could have held it better because those guys are not just wrestlers. They are they are VPs, they are actual members of management, and management shouldn't be handling things that way. They shouldn't be busting open into somebody's dresser. They shouldn't be. Kenny Omega didn't have to hold somebody else's dog. You know, nobody needed to be bitten by someone that wasn't the dog. But I mean, this whole situation was just all sorts of screwed up. Everybody, I don't think anybody came out of the situation saying, yeah, I'm definitely in the right about this. Not Punk, not the EVP guys. And I mean, it hurt everybody. It hurt AEW as a brand. And it showed the younger guys that, well, you guys can go on and have a fight in the back. If you don't understand, if you want to leave the company, start a fight with somebody. We've seen that with Andrade. We haven't seen Andrade since.
Mhm.
And it's Sammy Guevara. Guevara had issues with, from what I understand, he's had issues with loads of people backstage. And I mean, as much as we, and I know Vass has said this at length a couple of times, that it was like a bullying culture back in the day with the Undertaker, and especially when JBL was the head of the whole wrestler squad. But the fact of the matter is, stuff was handled in the back. Stuff was handled in the back. You went out, you did your job, and you got paid. The company prospered. Everybody made money. What's happening now? There's like Tony is sitting holding the bag. Tony's literally holding the bag on on now AEW and ROH. And what happens if somebody else decides, hey, I don't want to be back here? Start another fight.
Mm.
I think it hurt them. I think it hurt them a lot. And whether or not CM Punk comes back or not, I think that's anybody's guess. I'm glad FTR finally came back. That I was genuinely worried about that, because everybody that knows anything will tell you that Punk and FTR are good mates. And I honestly thought that that was it for them. And I would much rather see them in AEW having the option to do independence and everything else. Then I know there is a couple of tag teams I might want to see them work with it in WWE, but FTR belong out there. They are literally stallions. They belong out there in the wild. They need to be out there having those great independent matches. Can you imagine if they stayed in NXT? We would never have gotten to see them and the Briscoe brothers. We have never. Oh, and that's something else we should have mentioned. We've lost way too many wrestlers.
They just dropped like flies, and it sounds horrible to do that, but I mean, since okay, let's recap. I mean, you first we and I don't think we did justice to all those that passed away. Scott Hall, Antonio Inoki, Dave Hebner, and now Jay Briscoe.
I mean, Jay Briscoe and Scott Hall. I can tell you that morning that I read that news, I was messed up, man. And Scott Hall, you've seen like every single one of my top 10. Every single time there's a top 10, Razor Ramon or Scott Hall is in there somewhere.
Yeah. And what hit me more,
that hit hard.
And what hit me more, still keeps hitting, is the morning that I read, this is a bit of a personal story, but I'll say it anyway. The morning that I read that Jay Briscoe died, I, on that same morning, got some sad news that one of my family members had passed away. And it was like, what the hell, 2 deaths? I got one on my phone.
And that's the weird thing. You know what the weird thing is? And we can't explain this to anybody else. Nobody else except wrestling fans will understand this. We are so invested in this thing. We watch so much of it. We are on WhatsApp groups. We are on wrestling groups. We are on like constant news updates. Like, I'm a gamer. We were having a wrestling related gaming conversation yesterday. And it went on for 2 hours. It went on for 2 hours. And we are so invested with these guys that when something happens to one of them, it feels a lot closer than it should be. I mean, think about it. These guys are off. Most of them have no idea that we even exist. Most of them have no idea that we even exist. But something happens to them over there, and it's like, I can't. I just have to take a break. I can't focus. I'm literally like the whole day. I was like, I know the day that he passed away. I think I watched that promo of his, the Hall of Fame promo. I must have watched that a few times during the day. Um, I watched the Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon ladder match a couple times.
Mm.
And that brings me back to what I was talking about right at the beginning. I became a Savio Vega fan because if you remember correctly, Savio did a run in to save his friend, Razor Ramon. Ah, there we go.
So that's how that happened.
There we go.
But like you're just talking about that conversation yesterday. I remember the first day that I met you guys, and in the major players. That first day, we had a conversation from the moment I joined for 8 straight hours. I
I
did no
got, thankfully, okay, I can say this now because I no longer work at the place that I was working at when I first joined it. But I did nothing that entire day. No work was done.
Same here. I still work at that place, and I can say that no one knows that I'm on YouTube. They don't watch YouTube.
I had no work done that entire day because as far as I was concerned, I had met my clan. I had met my people. And okay, fine. There's guys that have moved on. There's guys that are doing other things and everything else. But I mean, the core of us is still around. Yes,
Yeah.
another weird wrestling related group.
We have quite a few wrestling related groups because it's still real to us. Damn it.
It's always been real to us. That's the
That's the crazy part. And yeah, so we've spoken about that. We spoke about Vince. We spoke about there's a lot that happened. Now I want to talk about the Saudi thing. This
you've got
whole
notes.
coming back and Saudi. And
You've got
you and
notes.
all the viewers know how I feel about Vince McMahon. And I'm not even going to say anything because if I do, I'm going to lose my, you know what? So I want you to give your thoughts on this because you already know what mine are about Vince coming back and allegedly, like you said, selling WWE to Saudi.
Look, this one is actually a more charged, I would say, than the whole situation with AEW because there's a political aspect to it. There's court cases involved. It's messy. It's just
And
it's messy.
also resigned.
Yes.
Someone, yeah.
And I mean, as much as everyone wants to say that it's just a case of her moving on to the next thing, you can see what's going on. If you can see that there's legitimate issues with like Vince and the way he's treated his family and the way that they are dealing with this whole thing. And I mean, it's just distasteful. I mean, Johnny Ace, the way that he came across, him and Vince come across like these complete and utter. And what else? What other words can I? Dirty old men. That's the way it looks. It looks like dirty old men. It's just being inappropriate with people.
I wonder how his wife Linda feels about this whole thing.
I think I think she's probably gotten to that stage where he's done it so much, and there's been so many. I mean, there's allegations from like the 80s that have come back up now.
Yeah. And now it's made me think that maybe that stuff with Trish Stratus was more than just staged. When I look back at the WrestleMania X7 match.
I don't think any of that is staged. I don't think any of that is staged.
That is what's shocking me about it. And I'm trying to compose it because everyone knows how I felt about Vince, but damn.
Now that I think about there was something that Jim Cornette said on his podcast whenever they talk about when they met Sable for the first time. And the words white panties always come up. And it sounds gross. It really sounds gross Now that I've said it, I need to have a bath after this. But anyway, I need to scrub myself with bleach. I genuinely feel disturbed for having said those words. But anyway, apparently the very first time they met Sable, I think it was Bruce Pritchard and him and Vince that just kept going on about that, about her. Can you imagine her in those? And I think that's why we had as many Brian Panthy matches. That's why Divas literally didn't have a chance. That's why we had all the inappropriate crap that was happening. That's why, and as much as I love Jerry Lawler, that's why he was allowed to go on TV and scream puppies every 2 minutes. So it makes you wonder what really was going on. Actually, I think at some point it's going to come out. I mean, would like every backstage fight and things that has happened in the past, as wrestling fans, somebody has come out at some point to say, you know, this is what actually happened. And like when we talk about Survivor Series 97, we all know for a fact, none of us were back there. We've watched the documentary, but there's stuff the documentary didn't touch, but we know all of it. None of us were back. None of us knew anything about what happened with Sid Justice and Arn Anderson, but we know everything there. And at some point, we will all know what really happened. What really happened? Someone will come out and say something. And will I be surprised if it's something about Vince? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, as much as I respect the guy for him giving me, well, wrestling and giving me the friends that I have because of wrestling, man, it becomes a whole Chris Benoit thing. It becomes this whole Chris Benoit thing. Like, how do you separate this guy that's done all this really horrible ish with the guy that gave you the memories that you do?
Who's Chris Benoit? Never heard of him. Who's that?
I haven't heard of him. No, okay, never mind. Let's just gloss that over. Let's just move past it.
But I remember the day it was announced that Vince McMahon came back and sold, allegedly, the WWE to the Saudi.
We lost our minds that day. We all lost our minds.
Going insane. I was like, what the, WTF, whiskey tango foxtrot. And then I saw every news outlet, every YouTube channel that spoke about wrestling was on about it. And those who spoke about it were literally like, F you, Vince. That was the sentiment that was felt around YouTube channels that I watch. Coming back to that situation now, like you spoke about the whole Vince scandal thing, do you think it's real? Because we expected major changes. We expected Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to leave. We thought the women's revolution was over. We didn't know what was happening. What do you think is happening? Because now it's gone like quiet. It's sort of like, and this is a controversial.
It has happened before.
But it's like, you remember when everyone was like, go take your COVID vaccine, and now no one's talking about it? It's the same thing. It's like everyone was like, blah, Saudi, WWE, and now it's like, no one's talking about it. Why?
I think the deal is probably, I'm not sure if it's going to happen with Saudi exactly. It probably will. It probably still will. But it's probably going to be one of those things that's literally going to be announced at the last second and going to go through like immediately. Because if you look at what Vince has done with the whole board of directors and everything else, it's straight out of his wrestling playbook. He's come back. He's the big bad. He's gotten the person that was investigating him resigned. Right? He's no longer there. So no one's investigating him anymore. Apparently, I've heard that he has been suggesting things, and that's why we have one specific match on the roster or on WrestleMania. I think it's Omos and Brock, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was
That is
suggested.
still things.
That was suggested by Vince, and I don't know if it ends there. I don't know if it ends there, because the thing is, at this point in time, Triple H has put himself together like a dream team. He's got a dream team backstage of producers and writers and him being in charge. And it's something that we want to watch. It's something, I don't know if they look at the same viewership metrics that they used to, where they look at the same type of thing, no? But we're back. We're watching wrestling again. And we're enjoying watching wrestling again. It's, we literally, none of us are looking at WrestleMania and wondering, I wonder if Roman or Brock would win in the main event. And I'm sorry to beat a dead horse, but it's exactly that. It's exactly that. And I think if a guy like Goldberg had come back and had Triple H producing him and giving him direction, we wouldn't have had the type of stinkers that we did. We wouldn't have had the type of opinions of Bill Goldberg that we do right now. Well, I'm speaking for myself. I wouldn't. I think if Trips was producing him and booking him and doing the stuff that he's doing with him right now, I mean, who do we look at? Look at Judgment Day. Look at Judgment Day, right? Judgment Day was brought in under Vince, right? He was still there when they came in, and they were becoming that spooky, creepy, feely type of oogie boogie type of thing. And we all know where that would have ended up. We would have had a 7 Faces of Wyatt type of thing. I don't know, some weird ass match. And it wouldn't have, we would have all like checked out half of the thing. We would have stopped watching it. But we've had some like spooky, freaky matches in between. We've had that Mountain Dew match as well, which I think was a bit weird, but at the end I did sort of understand what they were going for with the whole thing, and I don't think it missed its mark. Yeah. But I don't know where this whole Saudi thing is going to go. There's definitely some type of long-term arrangement, as far as them having to do a certain number of shows there every year. I think that's the type of arrangement they had, and that's why Trips still needs to do it going forward. But as far as where this is going to go, and whether or not Vince sells or whether he does sell to the Saudis, I don't know. I don't think the only person that could possibly answer you is Vince McMahon. And I think that answer could probably change the way Monday Night Raw was booked. Like, in the morning, you have one script. By 12 o'clock, you have script number 4. And just before you go on, you're working on script 10. So there's that type of thing.
And if you were to ask Vince, the answer would be, well, pal, it's some good shit, pal. You gotta learn how to put on the show, pal. Oh my God, he's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. That's the answer you would get from Vince.
I don't think any of us are ready for that. Oh, talking about things that we aren't ready for, Asuka.
Your chick is back. Asuka's back. Nia made a special appearance in the Rumble.
The Rumble. I really enjoyed the Rumble. I really enjoyed. I mean, aside from the people that I really wanted to come back, I mean, Nia Jax did make a cameo, and it literally was a cameo.
At least she didn't fall into any holes.
Walk right past that.
Staying away from that, you just stumbled upon a new favorite, a certain Scottish wrestler, that you want to get crushed underneath?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to say anything because we might have kids watching this, so I'm not going to. I'm going to walk in the other direction now. No, but the Rumble was genuinely. See, this is what you call a subject change. The Rumble was genuinely a good match. I know I've mentioned this to you and a couple of the other guys, but last year's Rumble really wasn't good. It was the women's match was like we knew everyone going into it who was coming out. We knew literally there was no surprises. This year, I think the mere fact that we didn't know, we knew a little bit of who was coming in, but there wasn't so many surprises. There wasn't so many returning Hall of Famers that came in there and just like stopped the pace of the match completely. This year felt like a continuous match on both sides. On both sides, there wasn't like big breaks in between and everything else. And both the Rumble winners are like people that we wanted to win. I mean, Rhea, for me, if these guys don't have the trigger pulled on them at WrestleMania, I'm not saying they're going to flounder. I'm just saying it's going to be a bit of a leap for them to go from losing at WrestleMania and keeping that momentum going. As far as I'm concerned, I think the first thing that I want to see is Cody, specifically Cody. I want him to have that moment after WrestleMania. And yes, I'm saying this now. I don't think there's any way. I don't think there's any way he doesn't win come Mania. I don't think there's any way. And if he does lose, what do you then do with him?
Yeah.
What do you do with him then?
There's no way for him to go after that. There's literally, it's going to be like when I'm trying to think of a good way. It's like when Ryback lost to CM Punk at Hell in a Cell, and he had this. That's a bad example, but it's the only one I'm thinking of at this point. His streak ended, and then what happened? Nothing.
Exactly. And the other thing is, if you think about it, Roman has pretty much been a heel character throughout. So he's tussled with a lot of the faces, a lot of the good guys, and most of the bad guys didn't have a shot for all this time. Face champion. Time for us to have some good heel feuds.
And it's happening in Hollywood. I know he can't wrestle, but I hope to God, please make an appearance. Please, I need to hear somehow at some point.
I don't know.
I
don't know about that. I don't know.
Nothing against the Miz. Nothing
What's that? Close the show.
But Rock against Miz. I mean, come on. The scales.
Maybe to beat down the Miz as the host. I could see that happening. But then I think if he shows up, it takes a little bit away from the whole bloodline feud and everything else.
So what if he comes in during the match? You know, to put like Roman in his place afterwards or something, you know.
No. Ideally what I would like is a clean match. And I think that's why they booking.
We're not going to get that.
That's why. No. Hold on. Follow me here. I think that is why we're actually getting him teaming up with Sammy. Right? That's why they like running interference and everything else with each other. And at some point, the two of them are going to be beaten down by the bloodline. Because as at this time, from what I understand, they've pretty much run them off. Every time it's been like 3-on-2, they've somehow come out ahead. But at some point,
what you're saying, and and sorry to cut you off, but exactly what you're saying, you haven't watched SmackDown yet.
Yes.
When you watch SmackDown, you're going to remember what I just said, what you just said.
So at some point, the numbers game is going to catch up with him, and Owens is going to have to come out. And that's going to set up Owens and Sammy versus Jimmy and Jay.
Yeah.
And they are obviously going to take them out before the main event. And that just leaves Solo.
That's what I'm saying. It can't be a clean match. Solo's still there.
It's going to be a clean match. Somehow it's going to be a clean match. Or maybe Solo costs him. Maybe somebody costs him. But ideally, what I would like is a clean match. An absolute clean match. And Cody winning in the center of the ring. Finished. That's it. And then Roman goes off. I don't know what Roman does after that, but yeah, we don't see Roman for a while. And then maybe he comes back as face Roman. Who knows?
That's what I was thinking. Like, what if, okay, this match, Cody wins. We already know that's happening. But what if after the match is over, Cody celebrated, whatever, Roman goes up the ramp, looks back at the ring, sees Cody, turns around to see his fathers, Alpha and Sika, there, and they strip him of being a tribal chief. At that point, Paul Heyman walks off. He's like, you're no longer my tribal chief. I'm out. The Usos already have been taken out. Solo's been taken out at some point. And Roman Reigns just walks out with his head hanging low in shame, goes away for a few months. He'll come back as the face Roman, no longer tribal chief, no longer head of the table, but just plain old bland Roman again, without the Shield music, because I don't want to hear that crap.
No. I don't see this. No. I don't want this. I don't want it. I don't want it. What does he? Okay, how does he come out then? Does he then come out as Joe Anoa'i after that?
Listen to what I'm saying. He goes away. Imagine him coming back as the tribal chief, right? Without any titles. Is he going to be thrust immediately back in the main event again for another 1,000 days? It just, the logic of the booking won't make sense. He has to have a fall. He has to be lower down the level.
He has to come back as a face. He has to come back as a face. The question is how they book it.
You can't have a tribal chief as a face. You could back in the 70s with High Chief Peter Maivia. But nowadays, with the way Roman has carried his authority around,
so he essentially needs a third personality. That's what he needs. He cannot go back to suffering succotash Roman Reigns. He can't go back to that. He can't go back to. He doesn't look like
Michael Scott is playing right now. Please, God, no.
He can't go back to being. He can't go back to being the tribal chief either. Which for me would be genuinely sad though, because I've loved that. This has been amazing. That being said, I don't know. What I can tell you is though, if Trips is still in charge, I'm there for it. Whatever happens, I'm there for that.
I really hope Triple H stays in charge of creative. He's done such a great job, but if Vince, for some peculiar reason, pokes another thing in there, it's exactly what I told you guys.
I think if we start seeing weird hirings, if we start seeing like Johnny Ace rocking up again, like cue the Johnny Ace voice.
My name is Mr. John Laurinaitis, and I have Laurinaitis. People power.
I don't know how your voice works after doing that, but anyway, I feel the pain in your voice box right now.
I don't know how I do it myself, honestly.
That sounds like it hurts. That sounds like it really hurts.
Doesn't. It actually doesn't, because I can just make my voice like that, and I could go on talking like this for a good long while. I once cut a promo like this in Japan for 12 straight minutes, and everybody loved it. So everybody needs to show me some respect. I am the interim general manager of Raw and of SmackDown. People power.
And before that, you had a skate roller. What was it? A skateboy, skater gimmick.
Yeah, yeah.
You had a skater gimmick. That's what you had, Mr. Johnny Ace. Then you gave yourself a creepy old man gimmick.
I sometimes watch the promos between John Laurinaitis and CM Punk. Those were gold. And I think that was around the time you were a fan of him, I think.
Yeah. It really was. Really, genuinely was.
And I agree with you about the Rumble. Everyone knows I'm not a fan of Rumble matches. I've never been a fan. I do like it to a certain degree, but I'm not a fan of it because I just don't like the format. I find it goes on too long. There's not enough action. Everyone's in their own corners fighting each other. There's no high flying. But this year.
Oh no, there was. Hold on.
There was a spot with Logan Paul and
no, not that. Not just that. I'm talking about there was a year when there was a high flying spot, and that's why they don't have high flying spots anymore.
Actually, twice I think that happened. The one Luchador, and then it was Macho Man the 1 year.
No. His name is Mil Mascaras. And Mr. Mascaras decided to come in and jump onto the top rope and then dive onto the guys outside. And then was confused when he was eliminated. That's why there's no high flying.
That was hilarious.
That spot that you were talking about with Logan Paul and Ricochet, I think I must have watched that about 6 times. That was just
only 6 times. I watched it about 600 times.
No, I'm talking about the day of. Yeah.
You had it on loop.
It's like literally sitting back and watching a team score 7 goals against the other. You can literally watch it on repeat. It's like,
I am glad that certain other major players in here, because I think he would have.
Yeah, that wouldn't have went down well.
First it was 5, now it's 7. How is he going to? What next?
I have no idea. I really have no idea. I stopped making fun of him on Sunday. Eventually, I was just like,
he was broken.
It was bad. It was really bad.
I even put, and I'm not a football fan, but I even put up, like how in wrestling, when we talk about wrestling, we speculate like, what if this were to happen? I sometimes speculate what happens, and I know it won't happen, but what if Mo Salah at some point transfers over to Manchester for a season?
No. In the history of these two clubs, I think there's been like 2 players that have moved directly from United to Liverpool. There's been 1 player, and he's like universally hated. Both United fans and Liverpool fans both hate him. It's Michael Owen, that used to play for us, went off to Real Madrid and came back and joined Manchester United. Manchester United fans can't stand him because he used to play for us. We can't stand him because he went on to play for them. That's probably the only thing that we see eye to eye on, to be very honest with you.
I always heard the rumors about Michael Owen. I never knew why people were swearing at him so much, and now I finally got the answer.
That's probably the only thing that United and Liverpool fans all agree on. We can't stand Michael Owen. It's like a universal thing.
And I don't watch football, but for the sake of actually being a part of anything, I chose to be a fan the same way John Cena is a fan of the same team. So, yeah, I'm a John Cena.
I pray for you constantly, buddy.
We once went to the finals, and we gave Liverpool, after 30 years, the trophy. We handed to you on the silver platter because we're that bad. We're that terrible. It was an easy win for you guys. But yeah, Rumble matches, I've never been a fan, but this year's Rumble, I was into it. I loved the high spot. I loved how much of time they gave to Cody and Gunther at the end. They really drove that point home for that battle. And I know I was watching it and I was like, Jeremy must be marking out at the chops, at the brutality. because he loves that
Those
hard
hurt.
wrestling.
Those really, really, really hurt. I sat there and I watched it and I was like,
and Cody had shoulder
he
surgery
was taking those chops to his chest the entire time.
every time Gunter hit one of those
And
chops.
that's another thing. That's probably going to be a feud at some point.
Definitely.
That
Gunther
has to happen.
The IC title, or maybe he keeps the IC title and faces off against Cody for it. It has to happen.
Title versus title?
Warrior versus Hogan? Could happen. Could happen. It's a good
Cody Rhodes. Whoa. Cody, follow me. Follow this next phrase. Cody Rhodes, belt collector.
Wait, you just gave me another idea.
Cody,
do you know that Cody brought back the original white strap belt? What if?
It's probably going to happen. That's probably going to happen.
And I want it to happen because I've made it clear I dislike how this title looks. I prefer the white strap. Even the black strap with the one that they had the WrestleMania X, the ladder match, I'm fine with that. But the white strap will always be number one. And I hate this new design.
Yes.
It's like the United States title. I dislike its design. I don't like how it looks. I don't care that it's Americanish. I like the old one better.
Just tell us that you missed the spinner belt. We'll bring that back for you. It's fine.
I'll take it.
The way we'll give you the spinner belt. Do you want the spinner belt? We'll bring that belt.
Yeah. I would rather have the spinner belt at this point, to be honest with you. But for those viewers that are watching, we've touched on it and now we're getting to the point. Those who are watching know how I do things around here. And I know you guys probably hate it, but the fact that I'm wearing this is the only shirt I have in my wardrobe that was the closest color scheme to WrestleMania this year. Last year,
this was just at the top of my clothes. I put it on. There's no fashion choices behind it, guys. I'm not as fashion. I'm not a fashionista like Mr. Nashville is.
I'm not a fashionista.
Coming soon to the maximum male models. No Sade.
Your teeth post. And you look like you just picked that off the top of anything, and I was right. You did. Anyways.
Yes.
2 weeks from today, exactly 2 weeks from today, will mark exactly 1 year since we had probably one of our best videos, a two-part, 4 major players were on that video, 2 on one side of the screen, 2 on the other side of the screen. Yes. It was Delvin versus Joe Berg at that point. And I won't say which team was drinking or name names, but there were drinks involved. Street Profits cups were out. Yeah, Jeremy's been muted at this point so that we don't get kicked off.
I was doing my Steve Austin impersonation.
Oh, hell yeah. By the way, it was cool to have Stone Cold Steve Austin cut a promo with LA Knight. Hell yeah, and yeah.
Yeah. I might lose my mind. I might never come down from that. Oh, no, wait. You forgot to add the crowd in there. Because it'll be hell yeah, what?
What?
Yeah, like continuously. Like 5 minutes of that.
So with that being said, let me talk to you. So I'm wearing this color. It's the closest to WrestleMania I can find in my wardrobe. Don't hate on me in the comments. But we're going to talk about WrestleMania right now because that's the next pay-per-view.
We can't go there yet.
What?
There's one more we haven't spoken about, but we can go through it really quickly.
Okay, yeah, sure. Go.
Elimination Chamber.
Oh, how dare I? How can
you forget Elimination Chamber? It was probably the one Elimination Chamber in recent history that we were all like, there's things that actually happened on the show that matter. the stuff that actually has happened here to carry the storyline along. It was, I mean, that US title match, Logan Paul being in there is,
And
I know I'm probably going to miss a whole lot of things here.
With that whole segment between Sammy and Roman, that Rumble segment at the end, that hooked fans, and Elimination was an extension of it, basically. The whole paper.
I mean, it was like literally, if you're a gamer, you'll or a movie person in any way, you'll know what a shot-for-shot remake is, and that's literally what it was. It's literally what we got. And I mean, I've run out of words. I've run out of words. Elimination Chamber was just next level, and everything on there was next level. Okay, fine. There was a few. I think there was a few, but then if we're grading it compared to everything else on there, even the stuff that was just like normal filler in there, well, filler was like. And that's what you want. That's what you want. That brings me full circle again to the AEW point. If everybody is going out there to work together to make the business work, you're going to have this. This is what you're going to have. Yeah.
Okay. That point. And then Elimination Chamber was the first time I saw the Seth Rollins Joker ad with Becky Lynch. I was like, wow, I mean, this is gold. This is gold right here.
The only thing,
dance and everything with the lollipop, because obviously you couldn't use a cigarette, but with the lollipop and like the dance was on point. It was almost like the drip dance. I think Seth Rollins should come out at WrestleMania with the Joker gimmick and do the drip dance like the Joker. That's what I think should happen.
And then Logan Paul should come out as Batman.
Yeah. He's a what, a YouTuber?
He could get booed out of the building though.
You could
I'm glad they finally embraced the fact that Logan Paul needs to be a heel. Logan Paul is not a face. I mean, every other celebrity that comes out, yes, we can understand. You don't know what else to do with yourself. We can understand this. Logan Paul gets it. Logan Paul gets the fact that he's a bad guy, that he can speak like a bad guy. He can come out and be a complete dick, and everybody understands it.
And you know why? Because we all, as much as he apologized, as much as he tries to do all these other things, we will always forever remember what he did on YouTube with that forest video.
Yes.
We will never get over it.
We're not going to go into that right now.
No, I'm just saying.
He's a dick. He's a dick. He's playing up into his character, and any good wrestling heel understands the fact I'm here to not be liked. And any wrestling heel that's worth what that's actually, and one of the guys that gets this is Baron Corbin. Corbin gets it. Corbin is a complete and utter menace to people on his Twitter feed. He's like living, he literally does the Ted DiBiase thing. He lives his gimmick. He understands I need to be a jackass to everybody at all times. And that's why when bum-ass Corbin comes back, I will lose my mind. I love the fact that they are ignoring on TV at the moment, that they cut away from wherever. Can you imagine on WrestleMania, this coming back to you to what you want to talk about? At WrestleMania, you have a break in the action. There's no music. And Corbin is not on TV for a few weeks, so he lets that bad hair of his come out. And he comes out with the egg-stained white shirt. They better not have, if I am watching this late at night, I will get divorced. My wife will kick me out of the room because I will scream and I will be chased out. If bum-ass Corbin shows up, re-debuts at WrestleMania, man.
Damn.
There's some
Like-
fantasy booking for you. That's how you fantasy book and not end up with a foil helmet on. Just putting that out there.
Is anybody gonna predict that Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble next year?
I will predict the same thing that I've been predicting for the past few years. That Sami wins Money in the Bank. That's all I want. I want Sami Zayn to have a Money in the Bank briefcase, but it needs to be one of those briefcases. And I think this is how they could split the titles back up again. So you have a Money in the Bank briefcase, right? And you cash in. However, depending on the show that you're on, say you cash in on Raw, you have the World Heavyweight title. If you cash in on SmackDown, you have the Universal title. I still think that what they actually should do at WrestleMania, and I'm going to step on your toes a little bit, right? What they should actually do at WrestleMania is have somebody else go after the tag belts, as in not Owens and Zayn, right? Let Owens feud with Sikoa, right? So that way Sikoa's taken care of. Who can we have? Who's a tag team that could come in and be legitimate threats? Who?
Street Profits.
Street Profits. Street Profits would work. You know who else would work? Damn it, I can't remember their name now. I've ruined my pop. Bobby Lashley's old group, man.
The Hurt Business.
You have the Hurt Business reform. They go after the tag belts, right?
Not legitimate enough.
Okay. Let's say you have Shelton and Bobby Lashley go after the tag belts.
Or better yet, Bobby Lashley and Omos.
Bobby Lashley and Omos as part of the Hurt Business. They've got two other guys backing them up, right? Right. Now you can understand where I'm going with the main event. The main event then becomes our tribal chief.
Jericho thing with the other guys.
Chief and versus Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. So back in the day, there was a brilliant piece of booking when they wanted. So Kurt Angle was double champ at the time. Kurt Angle had the Euro Continental Championship, as he called it. Right? And one dude that we will not mention, and I think the other guy was it Jericho?
Yeah.
Jericho was in that match. Yes.
Yeah.
And so this is how we protect the tribal chief going forward. And this is how we take one belt and give one to go onto Raw. And this is how we give another belt to go onto SmackDown. So Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes are now friends, but they pin each other in the match. So Cody Rhodes will then pin Sami Zayn first four, go over to Raw. I've got the World Heavyweight title that I've always wanted. And then I unveil the new belt Monday night on Raw. Come Friday night, we have a monster pop on Friday night because Sami Zayn comes out as Universal title. We've got Sami Zayn as a champion. Roman Reigns hasn't been pinned. Roman Reigns goes off. He's on his Isle of Relevancy, and I'll come back to get my belts back when I'm ready.
But that's not what's going to happen. Let me tell you
That's not
what really
what's going to happen, but that's what I would do it.
is going to happen here. And I think this is the direction how they really split the belts up. Cody wins, ends WrestleMania holding both titles. We go over to Raw. He comes out and he puts the two title belts maybe away, gives it to a crew member, and unveils the World Heavyweight Championship that he always wanted to hold and said, "This one's for you, Dusty." And he puts the shoulder on. We go over to SmackDown, and Adam Pearce says, since the World Heavyweight Championship is now on Raw, we're going to have a tournament to determine a new WWE champion for SmackDown. and we get either like a battle royal or a tournament, where I would prefer, but then it's too close to have a tournament and then King of the Ring. So they probably have some other way of doing it. But that's how I see it happen. Maybe a 20-man over the top rope battle royal in the main event to determine the new WWE champion. That could work as well.
Gauntlet match. maybe someone actually wins a gauntlet match and it matters that I'm now the champion.
I didn't think of that. Gauntlet match. That's a perfect idea, actually. They should have that for the new WWE championship. And then what other belts did they unify? They didn't unify. Oh, the tag belts. The tag belts now, they could either say, okay, the tag champs can appear on both shows, but if they want to do, but I think Triple H said that he doesn't like the brand split thing so much. But if they want to split it up, they should do what they did back in the Ruthless Aggression era. I do not want to see color-coded Raw and SmackDown. What I want is the WWE Tag Team Championship and the World Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
We're much more.
If that's the case, we're going to end up with the whole Becky Lynch Charlotte scenario again, with people throwing belts, and yeah, that's not going to end well.
Color coded. I mean, I'm not an electrician. I don't want to see color coded belts. I don't want to see this. I want to see proper belts again with the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. Drop it. Women's Championship and Ladies Championship or something. Just not the Divas Championship. We don't want to see that butterfly effect again, right? We want to see Ladies and Women's Championship and stop with the color coding thing. That's what I want to see happen.
Exactly.
But going forward, now coming back to WrestleMania, last year we did say we're not doing the predictions game anymore. We're just going to drop our predictions. We're going to do our fantasy booking. But let's run through the card. We've got 8 matches announced already. I've got...
We're up to 8. Have they said anything about who's running on what night as yet?
Only one match has been determined, that Rollins and Paul will be on night 1. The rest are still to be... But we know Reigns and Rhodes will be on night 2. That's obviously a given. The others are kind of up in the air. But let's run through it real quick. And you just give me your predictions and I'll give you mine, just for the heck of it.
Okay.
So night 1, Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. Who are you going with?
Logan Paul needs to win it. Paul needs to win it, hands down. And he needs to win it in the most disgusting way possible. He needs to win it with a roll up, feet on the ropes, handful of tights. He needs to win it in the most disgusting way possible. You will not convince me any other way. Seth Rollins doesn't need to win. Seth Rollins doesn't need to win another match for the rest of his life. The man is relevant. The man can challenge for a title tomorrow. He does not need... Rollins has...
I agree with you. I agree with you on the fact that he's relevant. He could challenge for a title. But Paul winning on his current schedule, where he's not there every single week on a consistent basis, what does it do for Paul? What? Keeps him relevant?
It gives him credibility. Think about it. The last match he had was against Roman. He worked his socks off. The guy works his socks off. You can't take that away from him. And I don't think that Rollins is the type of guy that says, okay, I need to win because I'm Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins is probably going to give him the win. But to keep Rollins credible is that he needs to lose, but with the most gigantic truckload of shenanigans that you've ever seen in your life. And that's why I say it. I'm talking about foreign object in the tights. I'm talking about pulling my boot off and hitting you on the head with it. I'm talking about like everything. Like literally, Logan Paul needs to come out there with the Eddie Guerrero playbook and follow it to the letter. But he needs to do it in a Ric Flair, with a Ric Flair type fight.
If he does that, the next time we see Logan Paul probably be at SummerSlam. That's like another 4-5 months away.
And then he comes out and he says, and what's the first words that he says? I beat Seth Rollins. I'm not a full-timer. I don't need to be here all the time. Peace out.
And then challenge for a title and take off with for
And then
we're gonna have a Brock Lesnar situation. Are we gonna have a Brock Lesnar situation?
Yeah, that's gonna work. I mean, he's a part-timer as it is. Give him the win. If I can just point out to you, Floyd Mayweather, who's a good boxer.
Different situation. It's a once-off.
No.
Logan coming here before we.
Okay, Bad Bunny. Let's talk about Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny was relevant.
No, you're not winning this. You're not winning this. This is the hill that I will choose to die on.
Let's move on from this. The other matches on the card just announced this past Monday, 6-woman tag team match, which I really wanted to see. Damage Control versus Stratus Leader and Becky Lynch. Who are you going with on this one?
Faces. Yeah, it should be tag champs.
I agree. I'm with you on that one.
They've just won those belts. I don't see them dropping a pin anytime soon. They should win that quite comfortably. Keep the crowd happy. Keep momentum going.
Okay, and then we got one that I'm actually looking forward to. I probably wouldn't have back in the day, but I am now. Austin Theory versus John Cena for the United States title. This one's a tough one because Cena's a part-timer now. He can't be seen every week on TV. But if you have Theory go over him, and like, what does that do? Well, not to say that Cena's credibility is going to be hurt, but I mean, Theory now bragging about that he beat Cena.
Yes.
John Cena of all people.
John Cena. Look, it's going to be. It has to be Theory. It has. I can't see. You give Cena the win for what? Because him with the US title doesn't mean anything. Him beating Theory doesn't mean anything. And you need Theory to be an insufferable prick, and the best way to do it is for him to beat Cena.
And I see after the match probably Cena shaking Theory's hand, hugging him, going next to his ear and saying the famous words Cena loves to say, "You're only as good as your next match, kid. Good luck," and walking off, taking off the armband again, leaving him in the ring like he did the last time.
You know, at some point, one of those is going to stick. At some point, one of those retirements is going to stick. So let's just wait and see which one.
Now, there's a match that we all know is going to happen, but it's not on this card, but I know about it because I'm looking at another match that looks just like what Vince McMahon would book, and it's Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt. Now, I know you're a huge headband fan, but you're also a huge Bray fan to a certain extent. This one's a tough one. So what goes here?
I don't know. I don't know how this would work. I mean, Lashley's just come off a win at Elimination Chamber, and I use that term very loosely. But Bray Wyatt's last match was the Neon match. So
yeah,
I don't know.
What if it ends in a double DQ? The possibility Uncle Howdy gets involved.
Possible, but I think if we look at it like that, then probably we do end up with a double DQ, and then we move into gang warfare territory with Bobby Lashley reuniting the Hurt Business and Bray Wyatt coming out there with Uncle Howdy and the rabbit and the somebody playing the rabbit and somebody dude 1 year for Survivor Series, Jerry Lawler had a group of clowns, literally had a group of clowns. It was Doink the Clown, Dink the Clown, Inky Pinky. It was this was a match that actually happened.
Because I haven't seen this. Which one? 88, 89?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but this was a match that happened. And I think it might have been against Shawn Michaels. Just hold on. Hold on. Let's use the Google machine.
Was it not the Insane Clown Posse?
No, it wasn't the insane clown posse. Wait, let's check. Shawn Michaels.
I have not heard about this. It's the first time I'm hearing about this. That's why I'm genuinely shocked. This is like when you guys are talking about DLCs in the group and I'm lost. And I'm like, I've got a brick game. I literally do. I don't have it in my hand, but it's here.
Wait, hold on. Here we go. I think it's the Royal. Is it this one?
Survivor Series.
No, it's not this one. But there is a match. I shit you not. It was Doink the Clown. Doink the Clown. Let's go Doink the Clown.
This sounds just as absurd as the
Survivor Series team.
Howard Finkel and what were the other guys? Got it.
Okay, so it was 99. Was it 94?
Yeah, I was born.
Wow. Yep, it was 94. Just FYI, I was my second to last year of high school at this point, and you were born. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were in grade 11 at the point. I know which year you matriculated.
Yep.
95 unleaded.
There we go. So they had a match. Lawler introducing a midget called Queasy that was dressed like Lawler. And then the elimination match was booked with Lawler, Queasy, Sleazy, and Cheesy. This is a match that actually happened. Jerry Lawler, Queasy, Sleazy, and Cheesy facing off against Doink, Dink, Wink, and Pink.
Where did Shawn Michaels come in?
No, I was thinking of something else because Shawn Michaels also had a team at some point called the Knights or something like that. There was some cheesy 80s, 90s wrestling name. But that's a thing that actually happened.
Sleazy, cheesy, ding.
Yes.
Wink.
So maybe they build up like that. Maybe they build up to this match like that, make it a multi-man match in the build up to WrestleMania. And they have Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business against the Wyatt family. Literally.
Are they going to bring back the rabbit or the bunny from Adam Rose's posse?
Yeah, but they would have to mess up that costume completely because that one was way too clean compared to what we've seen Wyatt do.
I don't see it. They should bring back Redbeard, former Eric Rowan. You know, like he rejoined the family. It could work.
That could work.
That could only work at like SummerSlam or like Survivor Series, which is still a while away. They're not gonna.
Remember, there's a whole bunch of those characters. There's Husker Stumpy. There's the rabbit, whatever the rabbit, rambling rabbit.
Yeah, there was the witch.
There's that vulture dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vulture, yeah.
That could happen. That could be a thing that happens because remember, Bray Wyatt was also his sister at one point as well. So,
what if the witch is Sister Abigail, and Bray Wyatt clones himself and plays two people? I'm glad that he caught the flu that one year and saved us from that. We're not even going to talk about that.
No, let's move on.
I don't see this thing booking all the way to Survivor Series. This is not Hogan versus Sting in WCW, and then Hogan decides to change the booking. And I'm saying that because I just watched the A&E series, the NWO. I was shocked when I heard that Hogan, I didn't know it until this point, but Hogan decided to flex his creative control.
Yes.
And it made me think, what if in the 80s this could have happened?
He's done that. And the weird thing is, he's always said that he's really used like his creative control. But as fans, we've seen it. We know when he's gone over on people that he should never have beaten.
Yeah. Case in point, Shawn Michaels, SummerSlam 2005.
Yeah, but
That's
HBK,
terrible.
HBK got him back for that. So.
Moving on to another Vince-inspired match, Brock Lesnar versus Omos, or as Brock Lesnar said it, almost.
Yeah, Brock. There's I look. I know our new Nigerian correspondent is probably not going to be happy with me saying this, but why? How would this work? How would this work? I mean, for us to think that almost is a credible threat to Brock Lesnar, he would need to move and look like a credible threat, and we haven't seen it as yet. I haven't seen it.
Here's where you're wrong, and I'll tell you why. Brock is going away after this match. I know I just jacked your line there, but it's fine. Brock is going away after this match. Omos is still going to be there. We're not going to be able to take him seriously if he just lost to Brock Lesnar. It's going to be shenanigans. MVP's Kane will come into play. The referee will have ADHD as per usual, as all referees that get screened for the job have ADHD. And MVP will use the cane, and that's how Omos, not almost, because that's what I used in my washing machine, not almost, Omos gets the win over Brock Lesnar. That's how I see it. I'm going with Omos on this one. It has to be him. Going on to the women's matches, there is one more title match, but I'm leaving that for second to last because it's something that just happened. We have Bianca Belair versus the Royal Rumble winner, Asuka. I'm going with Asuka on this one.
Has to be.
I think
has to be.
I mean, Bianca's held it for a year now.
Yes.
She's had a good run, but I think the time is up now. It's
and the thing is, they've just repackaged Asuka. They can't now let her go up to the second Mania main event and let her lose again. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't. Yeah. There has to be. I'm waiting for the promo before Mania or the go home show. I just want to hear her say, Bianca Belair, you are not ready for Asuka.
I don't think you're going to hear that ever again, to be very honest with you. And I am completely fine with that. The way Asuka is at this point in time, where she says almost nothing, but is completely and utter, you know that she can take out anybody. You just need to watch her, and you just watch what she does, and you understand that she is way better than what she used to be. And she's just.
And her former tag partner in the Kabuki Warriors, I think it was Kairi Sane, was just over on. I don't know if you don't follow New Japan, but Sasha Banks is now Mercedes Moné.
Yes,
she's in New Japan. She won the title from Kairi a few weeks back. And when I think about Asuka, I don't know why, but I always just think of Kairi Sane. And I think of that one tweet I saw one year, and I think all of you guys in the group saw it about Kairi Sane. That because WrestleMania is happening in the Pirate Stadium, the Raymond James Stadium was like a Pirate Stadium.
Yes.
They should fill the whole stadium up with water and have a come on in a Pirate. I'm like,
that could have either A, been really good, or B, ended in disaster. I'm going for B. That's probably what would happen.
But it could have worked. That WrestleMania happened in lockdown. There's no fans. They could have easily just pulled up the whole stadium.
Why didn't they just have WrestleMania on a cruise ship? Nash, you could have booked it. You could have just.
Jericho Cruise is available. We haven't had those in a few years. It was nice to see the one. In fact, the Jericho Cruise is where that fan singing Fozzy originated. If anyone remembers.
I am aware of this.
Funny enough, you are. Singles match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We got Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I have a feeling I know who you're backing, but let us all know.
It has to happen. Has to happen. They have to pull the trigger on Ripley at this point in time. She is probably one of the most, like her and Dom at this point in time, I don't know how it's happened, but they're probably two of the most over people on wrestling in general at this point in time. And Dom, like I know we say it's a wrestling program, the guy barely wrestles. The guy barely wrestles. I mean, he had a good showing at the Rumble. I think he worked like a Jerry Lawler-esque match where he was like ducking and diving through the entire thing. But he's great. It's great. That's the type of thing that we want to see.
Yeah,
So,
and speaking of that, another match that hasn't been announced, but we know is going to happen. 2023 Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio versus Dominic. I mean, for me, it's got to be Dom.
it has to be Dom.
There's no
Has
way
to be
Rey
Dom.
is winning.
Has to be Dom because this whole thing, as far as I see it, is Rey pushing his son. Rey doing the job for his son. So he is going to make him. He's going to make him. He's going to make. I don't know if he needs to be made anymore, but this is basically going to be how I step out from behind from my father's shadow, essentially. And it's going to happen. I think if they play this right, they could have probably one of the hottest talents. I don't know how they use him going forward after that, but Dom is going to be one of those generational guys. He's going to be one of those guys that becomes this. This is going to sound very weird. He's going to become the next Eddie Guerrero. He's going to be the next Eddie Guerrero. You just need to look at him. He styled his hair like him. He's got the moveset. He's taken Guerrero's borrowed heavily off that.
I want to say something
Yes,
because
I
it
know
just
what you're going
happened
to say.
in SmackDown. He mentioned Eddie in his promo, and the exact words were, "I wish I was Eddie's son." Wow.
I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna actually, as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna go off and watch SmackDown.
That just like that's how you book an angle from 2005 till 2023. That's generational booking right there.
That's generational booking. You're right.
My God. And coming back to the whole Ripley Charlotte thing, the last time these two faced off was at WrestleMania when Charlotte won the Rumble and challenged for the NXT title, because I think they were trying to elevate NXT at the time. And then you had Austin Theory last year cashing in Money in the Bank on the United States Championship, which is very interesting. I thought you could only cash that in on a world title.
No. They've always said you can cash it in on any title. They've never said world title. If you think about any time we've heard Money in the Bank, no one has ever come out and said world title. They've always said any title you want.
JR on commentary, WrestleMania 24, multiple times said for a world title.
Okay, maybe it was that briefcase.
So when you check your
better than to try and argue with me about technicalities. You're not going to win.
All right, the second to last match announced on the card was the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus to be announced. Why I'm saying to be announced, there was a fatal five-way that was advertised for SmackDown to determine who wins. However, you're going to see this, there was a double pin that happened, which means two men effectively won that match. And so I'm not going to mention who.
It has to be Sheamus and Drew. It has to be Sheamus and Drew.
Exactly.
And then it's going to be a triple threat.
Nope. That's actually not going to happen because Adam Pearce, after the match, Gunther was complaining at him that he was saying, here's the exact words from the promo, English is not my native language, but I know the difference between challenger, singular, and challengers, plural. Okay. You said challenger. So what's going to happen is Adam Pearce has announced for next week's SmackDown, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus to determine which challenger, they stressed that so many times in the promo, faces Gunter. I would like to see a triple threat match. That, for me, would be a dream. Sheamus, McIntyre, Gunter. Hard hitting, great stuff. But from the way it looks and from the past few weeks, I've seen it grow on. I think it's going to be McIntyre because it's just challenger.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Going on to face Gunter at Mania. And at the last minute, Sheamus either does one of two things. He either costs McIntyre the match, effectively turning heel, and then they feud, or Sheamus finds a way to get himself inserted into the match despite Gunter's protests, and it ends up being a triple threat. That's what I think is going to happen. But what do you think is going to happen?
I need it to be Sheamus. I need it to be Sheamus, and I need him to win. That's it. It's that simple.
You're trying to be Clash at the Castle, aren't you?
No, not just Clash at the Castle, because it's Sheamus would winning the Intercontinental title would then be a Grand Slam champion. That's what I need to happen. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. As much as I like Drew, but my answer might actually be more than that. First of all, Sheamus does support the same soccer team that I do.
I know that's the reason.
Yep.
We all know the reason.
Yeah, that's one. And two, man, if they could recreate what they did at Clash at the Castle, I'd be fine with that. I would have no complaints about that whatsoever. None.
No. In fact, that won PWC's match of the year last year.
Yeah.
So
if I was Trips and I had the chance to run that back, I would. And honestly, I wouldn't like to see Sheamus and McIntyre feud anytime soon again. I think they've done the feuding thing. I would prefer if they went to do the Banger Bros thing. I would prefer if they went to do a tag team thing again.
Like Cesaro and Sheamus was.
Yep. They are a tag.
As you were talking, I'm trying to think if there's been any other wrestler that has won all the accolades in WWE history, and I can't think of one. When I say accolades, I mean world title, mid-card title, tag title, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble.
Oh, those are the... I think some of them might be missing the King of the Ring. I think back in the day, Brett might have done it. I think Brett might have done it with his King of the Ring win.
Brett ever hold the Intercontinental?
Yeah, I think he got it off Roddy at some point.
He won the Rumble at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, no Money in the Bank doesn't count.
No Money in the Bank. But if you're talking about what was available at the time.
Yeah, then it was.
Yeah.
But Sheamus is the only one that's won everything except the one, except the Intertitle. If he wins that, he's won it all. Every single thing.
And I would give it.
That's because WWE loves Sheamus because he's Irish. That's why they've always given him these opportunities. But he is well deserved now, years later on. So we've already spoken at length about this, but obviously the main event of night 2 will be Roman Reigns versus the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes for the world title. I've already told you where I think this is going. I think you already spoke about it, but in reality, you're putting your fantasy booking aside. What do you think is going to happen?
It has to be Rhodes. It has to be Rhodes. You can't, I can't see any way of them putting Cody in such a driving position after that injury angle, after he's come back, after the Rumble win. And I mean, week on week, he just cuts these amazing promos. His stuff with Heyman is just like next level. You can't have him go all the way up there to like tribal chief level and like fail at the end. It's not going to work. It's going to damage him so badly. I mean, what does he do after that? It's going to be like a whole Rusev thing. You're literally going to have to leave the company, go to another company, and then be forgotten there to reach the level of how badly they would need to drop the ball with Cody.
It's going to be like what happened with Stardust. He had to literally leave the company and go to several other companies to rebuild his cred in order to be where he is today.
And we've seen how that can backfire. Literally, if I can bring up Rusev again. We haven't seen Rusev. And wait, let me do one in between. Where in the world is Rusev? In the AEW edition. Where is he? We don't know. Still in the Matrix.
I'm literally going to take that and put that on TikTok. I'm gonna clip it out of the video.
Rusev is still stuck in the Matrix. Dude, if you don't believe me, go back and watch that last promo that he did. That very last promo, and we never saw him again after that. The whole Redeemer thing, where's he? Where's he gone? We don't know. We don't know. He could be anywhere. He could be behind me. There's one.
I doubt he's behind you. Behind Dan Mutzler over there.
Oh my God.
I would like to see Miro actually go over to freaking, New Japan. I think he could be a huge...
I would just like to see Miro in the Miro Rusev. I don't care whatever name he comes back as. I would just like to see the guy wrestle again. He's good. He's like really good. And he left WWE because he wasn't happy with the way they were using him, the limited amount of ring time that he had. And he went off and he was doing great. And then we never saw him again.
Sad case of affairs. But yeah, so that's WrestleMania going forward. By the way, I forgot to mention this. The King and Queen of the Ring is happening in Saudi on the 27th of May. That same Sunday afterwards is AEW's Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. It's almost as if WWE and AEW are competing on different continents at the same time. That's literally what.
At one stage, I think I heard that they were doing. AEW wanted to do a UK show, and then they were all set to announce the date. And then the moment Money in the Bank was announced for the UK, they were like, everything's just gone silent on that side. So I guess we'll know sooner or later.
I know which one. They were announcing it for weeks. I watch Dynamite 2 hours every week. They were announcing that Dynamite is going to go to London in July. And then Money in the Bank was announced for July, and the stadium and the arena was booked. So they were like, we can't do it now. So that's what they've been very quiet about it. They haven't mentioned it on TV since WWE booked the Money in the Bank.
You know, I want them to succeed. Wrestling is better when there's competition. It's always better when there's competition. When the Monday Night Wars were happening, it was amazing. We got 2 good shows every week. When Vince bought them over, it was just like steadily downhill all the time. And now that AEW is there and there's another option, look, we're back where it's good again.
Yeah.
And I want them to succeed.
Oh man, the back is paining, aren't it?
Yeah.
That's age catching up. But yeah, so that's where we're at, guys. We've covered WrestleMania. Going forward, we're going to have watch-alongs for the King and the Queen of the Ring. Hopefully Money in the Bank, and another watch-along. We're going to do watch-alongs live. Yes. I think that's the best way. And maybe, I'm saying hypothetically, just maybe, our next will be, we have this again. We should do it also on live Instagram. People can be commenting. We can be replying.
Or maybe we just put the link out there, and if you want to, you can just drop in.
Yeah, wrestling fans, come on in. We want to hear what you have to say. Yeah.
Do you not like the color of shirt that I'm wearing? I'll go look for another one.
As long as you don't come back with that Baron Corbin looking shirt that you got, that you look like.
I have no idea what happened to that shirt. It's like literally, it's just gone. It's somewhere. I never saw it again.
What happens in your house? Markers go missing.
I think I have
I have a
a
theory.
theory. I have a theory that my wife didn't like that shirt, and yes,
Married life, huh? Now we both understand how Al Bundy felt and why he
there we
did.
go. That is why he's my hero. He will always be my hero. He'll never stop being my hero.
All right, guys. So that does it for this major players roundup. I don't know when we'll see you guys again, but hopefully it's
Soon.
before the next watch along. And we want to do it live now. We're gonna sling it on Instagram, Facebook, whatever works for you guys. Let us know in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, for the Legal Bald Eagle, Jeremy, I am the CEO of PWC, your boy Nashville. And until we see you guys next time, I am going to do it because nobody's going to stop me ever again. Peace and chicken grease.